here at the Washington Monument because I have something monumental to announce. You're gonna actually start a video of this much importance with a pun? Really, dude? I really do have some big news for you. I have this dilemma. On one hand, my life's ambition is to build a sustainable long-term farm in Vermont. And on the other hand, I can't do that without the financial resources provided to me by working here in Washington, D.C.
We never hired, which writes off the value of the debt coverage.
But when it comes down to it, I know I shouldn't be whining and making myself feel like a victim of my situation. I'm very fortunate to have a job at all, and I'm very fortunate to have the farm. Our goal is to start a sustainable farm. And when I say sustainable, I mean sustainable environmentally, I mean sustainable from an economic perspective, and I mean sustainable from a personal perspective. The worst thing in the world would be to start this farm and have it go belly up after only a couple of years. This is a long-term enterprise. And so because of that, I recognize that I need to do certain things like put in infrastructure and have the financial resources so that I don't have to go into debt. For a while now, I've realized that the life I've been leading is not something I can sustain. My plan was always to work for a couple of more years down here in DC and fix up the farm, and then ultimately be ready to move up there full time. The problem with that idea is what I've been doing has been making me miserable. The time I'm spending in DC, I find myself bored and lonely, missing my wife and thinking about the farm. But then when I do go up to the farm, I've got so much to do and so many people to see and so many things to cram into any given period of time that I'm constantly running around like a chicken with my head cut off. All in all, I realized that what I had been doing was not something that could go on forever, and it was going to require me to make a change. So how did I intend to pull off this change? Well, I devised a very elaborate plan. I started talking to my friends, and then my friends put me in touch with their friends, who put me in touch with their friends, and ultimately, I met a guy who was looking for a person who had all the skills that I had. And the good news was, his company was in Vermont, only about 45 minutes away from the farm. I mean, can you believe that? That means I'll be able to live at the farm full time, probably even get a couple of farm businesses up and running, and at the same time build my skill set so that I can ultimately be a competent farmer who can sustain his own farm. You know, growing up, I never had any inclination of wanting to work in agriculture or do anything like this. But the twists and turns that life's taken over the last couple of years very much brought me to this point. And by this point, I mean right there, that house right there. You see, when Allison and I first moved to Washington, D.C., that was our house. We bought this house. That was the first house that we'd ever owned. It was a great little row house. It had a whole bunch of problems. Consistently leaky roof, some structural things. The coolest thing about it was, though, it had its own front yard. And in that front yard, I ripped up all the grass and put 2 garden beds in. Those garden beds became the foundation of my agricultural visions. That excitement about agriculture got me researching bigger and bigger things. I explored things like permaculture, and ultimately it was that experience that established Goldshaw Farm. So I'm going to continue to make videos here. I'm going to keep trying to tell the story of what's happening with the farm and give everybody an inside look to what's going on with the farm and my path to being an actual God's honest farmer. It's not going to be easy, but gosh darn it, I feel like I'm going to be living the dream. So that's it. That's our big news. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got to go pack.